Hi everyone, thank you for joining me. My name is R. Lee Ingalls, and today I'm going to show you my queso recipe and go through the process I use to make it. This is a recipe that I have made for several years, and each year I make it several times for many events that I have. It's one that I get requested often. Okay, let's get started. So this first photo that I'm showing you is actually the recipe itself. And as you can see from the very beginning, I made some changes to the original recipe. I do use this when I make the recipe only because I tend to forget things if I don't use the actual recipe. So let's get started with the products. First of all, the Velveeta cheese. Now this version that you're seeing here shows the Blanco version, the white cheese, which is not what I prefer. I prefer the yellow cheese, the original Velveeta cheese. The reason I use this one is because that's what was in the refrigerator, and I thought for the sake of showing you the process, it didn't matter if I used the Blanco or the yellow. But again, my preference is the yellow. You put it in the crock pot to begin the melting. I do add a half a cup to 3/4 of a cup of milk to help with the melting process. It also gives it a creamier texture at the end. You could add cream to it, but I think that gives it too heavy a taste in the end. But again, you could if you wanted to. Put your crock pot on high to start the melting process. And then we're going to start with the other ingredients. So first of all, the meat. I use a pound-ish of ground beef and sausage. I do not use the flavored sausage. I use the normal sausage or the regular original version. Now, what I do is I pay attention to my guest list. So if I'm having a smaller party, there's a lot of people that do not eat pork. I won't put the pork in there. I will add another pound of ground beef. But if it's a large party, a variety of people, I will go ahead and use the pork and sausage as I normally do. I'll just forewarn everybody that the queso has pork in it. So those are the two meats that I use in the queso. Let's go on to the veggies. First of all, red bell pepper. Now I use both red and green. So when you pick your bell pepper, don't pick too large ones. I usually look for medium or slightly smaller than medium. And then as you can see, I do a large chop on it. I like my queso chunky. And when I get a vegetable, I want to know I got the vegetable. So I don't chop it too fine. We also use, as I said, the green bell pepper. Again, choose a medium, maybe one a little small side. Do a loose chop on that one. And finally, the onion. Now, usually you find three onion types. You find the white onion, the yellow onion, and the sweet onion. For this recipe, I think the yellow onion works best. And again, I do a loose chop on that as well. That I usually use something slightly larger than medium. So I like a lot of onion in it. And then let's talk about the seasoning. First of all, Tony's Creole seasoning. That's a great general seasoning. I use it in a lot of the savory foods that I cook. So it's a great general seasoning. I love it. Garlic salt. I use garlic salt instead of real garlic. And the reason for that is you don't cook the garlic that much. And the garlic can tend to have an aftertaste, the real garlic cloves. So I don't use it to avoid that aftertaste. So garlic salt has enough in it. I'm going to add salt anyway. So it just gives the garlic flavor without that aftertaste effect. Then the next thing that we have is cumin. Cumin is a really good spice. It does not add any spicy heat to your queso, so you can use it pretty liberally. Once you start putting it in, your house and kitchen will be filled with this really nice south of the border aroma. The next one is chipotle. That's a pepper that does add spicy heat, so you need to be a little bit careful. I live in the South. In the South, most of us tend to like spicy hot foods, so I can use it pretty liberally. Up in the North, which is where my family is, I have to be careful. They do not care for it that spicy, so I have to be a little bit conservative in what I use. But it does add a really good, unique flavor. So yeah, I add it in both cases. I'm just a little bit careful. Then next thing is the Rotel, which I did not take a photo of. There's Rotel tomatoes come in a can, and it is a combination of tomato and chili peppers. It does add a little bit of heat, but not a significant amount. Most people can tolerate it very well. So that's all the spices. Let's go move on then to the cooking. So first of all, you're going to start by browning your meats. put the hamburger and the sausage in a frying pan, start to cook it. And as you cook it, chop it up. Again, I like my queso chunky, so I don't get it too finely chopped. But yeah, continue to cook it until it's about halfway done or maybe a little bit more. And you can tell that you are there by the fact that you will have rendered off all the liquid. It should be in the bottom of the pan. That liquid, all it's going to do is add a greasiness to your queso, which is not good. So get rid of that. Strain the meat, get the liquid out of it, and then put it back in the frying pan. At that point, add your seasoning. You can see the seasoning list in the recipe. I rarely ever measure. I put it in there to taste. So, and that would be my advice. Put it in there to the taste, depending on how you like it. Add your vegetables to it as well, and the Rotel tomato. And then from that point, you're going to finish cooking the meat. Make sure that it gets fully cooked. As you do that, of course, the vegetables are going to cook as well. The onions will start to turn translucent, and then the whole kitchen will be filled with this really amazing scent of the meat mixture. So once that happens, now you're ready to add it to the cheese. So add it to your crock pot. The cheese brick will probably still largely be a cheese brick. Not much melting will have happened at this point, but that's normal. Pour it over the brick, and then start chopping the brick up and mixing it with the meat. And continue to do that. It will speed up the melting process and go pretty quickly at this point. So as I said, continue to chop it up, stir it up, look for those chunks of cheese. Once you get it to where it's fully melted, it will look like this final picture and you are ready to enjoy it. So at this point, grab a chip, taste it, make sure it is what you want. You can add more seasoning if you need to at this point, but you are done. So my experience is I've made this 4 or 5 times every year for the last several decades. It goes really, really quickly. So if you want some, you need to get it early or you're going to miss out. So try it. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know your thoughts. I did add links to some of those items that I use in the recipe that you can order it straight off from Amazon, have it delivered to your house. You don't have to worry about whether or not you can find it in the store. So enjoy. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you.